Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Baka Gaijin show. I am your lovable rascal of a host, Siegfried, and with me, as always, is my incurable co-host, Kevin Faulkner.
I'm going to die. The doctor gave me 6 months to live.
Yep. You're going to die. It's terminal. You have a terminal case of life.
Oh, fuck. That's the worst thing you can have.
Yeah.
God. I think
living.
It's,
yeah. I mean, it just leads. I made that point on Twitter that I'm like, people claim to like fairness, but people also like being alive, and life isn't fair, but death is very fair, and we all hate it. What's going on with that?
It is the great equalizer.
Welcome to the Baka Gaijin show, where we discuss this and other philosophical quandaries, and nothing else.
Remember when we talked about anime?
People change as they grow older. Sometimes you watch less anime, and sometimes you think more about your own death. Yeah. Welcome back to the Happy Fun Time Baka Gaijin show, where we make you feel good about yourself.
By comparison to us.
If you've ever had an existential crisis, you're welcome here.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yep. Kevin, what have you been up to?
Well, aside from, an existential quandary surrounding the inevitability of my own demise,
of course, that never stops. That's always in the background, simmering like a stew.
It never ends.
I hate stew.
Some stew is okay. So last time we talked, I believe I said that I finished The King of Braves, Gaijin.
Yeah.
So, since then, I have also finished the sequel OVA, Gaijin Final, which, funny thing about that one, Gaijin Final it's called Final, and hell, the last episode of it is called The Final of Final. But it was never intended to be the final installment of Gaijin.
Blatant lies. This is the fucking Friday the 13th 4 of anime.
A bit. The final nightmare. Yeah, bullshit. Next time you see Jason, he's gonna be in fucking space.
I like how FNAF 4 did the exact same thing by calling itself the final chapter, and everyone's like, bullshit, and then it wasn't.
Everybody knew. Everybody fucking knew. They saw it coming. But yeah, there's a sequel novel now. The interesting thing about the sequel novel, which I think that started in like 2013, 2014 or something, probably sooner than that. The interesting thing about the sequel novel, Gaijin versus Better Man, is that the plans for that one actually began back in like 2005, because there was a TV edited broadcast of Gaijin Final. That featured footage from a Gaijin spin-off that aired between the TV series and Final called Better Man.
Yeah.
And the intent was to follow up the TV broadcast of Final with a new series that they called Gaijin Project Z.
Yeah.
No one really knows what happened with Project Z. Like, some people seem to believe that, like, the TV broadcast of Final did really poorly in ratings, and that made Sunrise think that, like, there wasn't any real interest in a sequel to Gaijin, even though there definitely was. People just didn't watch the TV broadcast because they already saw the fucking OVA. But I digress.
You have very strong opinions over what Japanese people watched on television in 2005.
Yes! No, I don't. But... But yeah, they canceled Project Z. But, like, I think it was like... Oh, no. Right, the novels began in 2017. Because 2017 was the 20th anniversary of Gaijin.
Yeah.
And it was for the 20th anniversary that they announced, Project Z is back and it's going to be an online novel series.
Yeah.
And about a year and a half later, they started a manga adaptation, which the novels are over, but the manga's only halfway done.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Art takes time.
It does. So I finished Final, and what I'm going to do after that is, starting tonight, I'm going to take a break from the Gaijin chronology for a bit, and I'm going to watch Symphogear.
Oh.
I'm finally starting Symphogear. Thank you, Type Zero Ceridan, for motivating me. Anyway,
You know, his name is Saradin.
his name is Saradin.
Yep.
I see you.
If you know one thing about him, that's the thing to know.
Indeed.
Yep.
So yeah, he inspired me to actually get off my ass and watch Symphogear because it's been on my to-do list for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I'm going to go watch Better Man. And then I'm going to take another break from Gao Gaigar, probably to watch Fire Force or something. At the very least, the first season of Fire Force, because I need to finish that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to read the novel series. The way that I'm planning on going through that is I'm going to read the novel, like, in chunks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to switch over to reading the manga version of what I just read, so that I have, like, a visual representation of what I read in my head, so I understand things a little bit better, because I'm a very visual person.
I know.
Which is why I like anime and manga.
Yeah. Those got pretty colors and everything.
They do.
Well, manga not as often, but
occasionally they do.
It's got very appealing shades of gray.
True, they get very creative with that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that because I got into Gao Gaigar back in high school like a decade ago.
Yeah.
And I, like many people, have long lamented the lack of a sequel to Gao Gaigar because, if you don't know, Final ends on a cliffhanger.
Ironic.
Final ends on a very inconclusive note. Again, ironic considering the name.
It's a tale as old as time.
Beauty and the Beast robot thing.
I don't understand these references.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Interestingly, lately I've been looking into kind of buying more Japanese snacks because I find Japanese snacks fun, entertaining, and like sometimes better than American snacks. Japanese snacks have a lot of like focus on savory stuff.
Yeah.
Like you would think something called like an umai stick in Japan would be like this, you know, sweet candy thing, but most of them are very savory. Like they have like fish flavors and barbecue flavors and stuff like that. It's actually quite good. I like umai sticks. They're fun. There's also this kind of Japanese candy that I discovered called kanyu. Have you heard of it?
No.
Maybe.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, it should sound familiar. Kanyu, yeah. Can you fit these nuts in your mouth?
Oh.
Got him. Oh, god damn it. I've been waiting 2 weeks for that. Fuck! React better, you son of a bitch!
No, I will only serve to disappoint you.
Damn it. He didn't know it, but he saw it coming somehow. I know it.
Yep, it's my innate psychic abilities.
Fuck.
Try harder.
I'm gonna try harder. Fuck! I failed you!
This is like if Charlie Brown mispicked the football on purpose and just roundhouse kicked Lucy in the face. I love that Family Guy clip a lot. And you know what? I did some digging around. Turns out you're not a licensed therapist. That's great.
That's funny. God.
Yep.
Yeah, when
I have a snack.
When Family Guy's good, it's good, but
yeah, I have a snack-related rant.
Really?
Yeah, are you familiar with combos?
Oh God, yes.
I love baked cracker, but like there's only like 2 flavors that are available in baked cracker form. Everything else is baked pretzel, which is not as good, and I don't get it.
Baked pretzel doesn't have like the right consistency comparatively.
It's
too hard.
It doesn't have the right mouth feel.
Yes.
And I think there's all these awesome combo flavors, but like 90% of them are only available in baked pretzel, and it pisses me off. Where my baked cracker fans at?
Come on, combos.
Where are my crackers at?
Where are my crackers?
I want to fill them up with nacho cheese.
God, just reminds me of a joke where it's like, man, if you want to know more about the inflation in price of Pokemon cards over time, just Google Pokemon inflation.
That's the fucking modern equivalent of I can't do this technical thing. Oh, have you tried Alt F4?
Maybe you should delete System 32.
You fell for the oldest trick in the book.
You're too late, Spider-Man.
You fool! You fell for the classic blunders.
God. Princess Bride was a good fucking movie. I hope they never remake it. Ever.
They will.
Fuck.
They will. They will. And it's gonna have Zendaya in it.
Zendaya is Michi.
She is.
Zendaya is also Lola Bunny.
She's getting around.
She's actually not a bad voice actress, but like
not at all.
It's very clear that she is only ever brought onto
star power.
It is, yeah. Why else would you replace Kath fucking Susie? Jeez.
I don't know. I don't think Zendaya's been a DreamWorks film yet, has she? I'm surprised.
Oh my god, wait.
I don't think so.
No, I don't. No, she wasn't. Oh my god, I thought she was in Trolls, but no, she wasn't.
She's going to be at one point. She's going to be. If there's another Trolls movie, there's no way there's not a Zendaya in it.
Oh yeah, like Trolls 3, definitely featuring Zendaya.
Zendaya is a troll. She does have a wonderful singing voice, so you know
she does.
It could happen. Yeah, I hope she doesn't kill anyone's grandma though. That would be unfortunate.
Which is God damn it. Which is another thing. Like, you're hiring a person mostly known for their singing career.
Yeah.
But you hired her in a movie where she doesn't fucking sing. Why did you do that?
Oh god, was she in Sing?
I have no fuck. You think I care about Sing?
That's a good.
You think
point.
I care enough about Sing to know who's fucking in it?
If she's not in Sing, she'll definitely be in Sing 2.
Oh god, they are making that, aren't they? Fuck.
Sing 2 is the most product I've ever heard of.
Illuminations had like one good movie.
Yeah, they were like, you know, because it was their first time, they actually gave a shit and they tried, and then they realized, wait, we don't have to try, and then they never did again.
Fuck. Illumination movies are just like the fucking kids' YouTube of cinema.
You know what was the moment that like made me realize, kind of killed any notion of creative integrity from Illumination for me. It wasn't Minions. It was before Minions. It was that the whole plot of Despicable Me had a very strong, like, you know, single parent-esque vibe to it.
Yeah.
You know? And then the immediate plot of Despicable Me 2 is Gru's gotta get a girlfriend. You know?
Oh god.
And I'm like, you know, it's just, you kind of, it doesn't quite, these puzzle pieces, they don't quite fit, you know?
But Zeke, we have to turn it on its head. That's the only way you're supposed to write a sequel.
I know, that's such a classic, we don't have no ideas for a sequel sort of thing. It's like the fucking, and I actually like this movie a bit, but this is literally like the Santa Claus 2, where they're like, well, he needs a Mrs. Claus.
Oh right, yeah. Oh, god.
Now I like Santa Claus 2 because evil Santa is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, Santa Claus 2 actually is a decent sequel. Like, it's not better than the first, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. I think evil toy Santa makes it though.
I'm sorry, does the Santa Claus 2 have a reference to a sex hotline? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Does it have the hot cocoa machine built into the sled?
You know what I think is funny is that, like, as much as Santa Claus 3 is bad, I still think it's worth watching.
If only because Jack Frost is really entertaining.
Yeah, I think like it's bad. It'll leave a sour taste in your mouth for the entire affair. But I also don't think your Santa Claus experience is complete without watching it.
Yeah, a little bit. God, it's... man. There's
some moments in there, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know where I was going with that thought.
I didn't think I'd be talking about the Santa Claus trilogy when I woke up today.
Well, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
So...
They should do Santa Claus 4 with Zendaya as an elf.
Far future sequel, Zendaya is the new Santa Claus.
I can't wait until we get to a point where they start drudging up the fucking Santa Claus for another revival.
Oh, you know they're gonna. You know Disney's just desperate for money.
Yeah. What do you think's gonna happen? You think it's gonna be Santa Claus 4, get the gang back together, or is it gonna be like a reboot with, like, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth or something?
Next generation sequel.
Oh. So we're you know what would be hilarious if we just watched Tim Allen die on screen. and then he gets replaced by, like, Chris Pratt or something. Great.
Oh god. I'm not sure, but I think I might need that in my life.
The Santa Claus mythos is surprisingly dark when you think about it.
Oh, thank you for that wonderful mental image. What have you been doing lately?
Well, you know, more video games. Been playing stuff, pressing buttons.
More PS5 stuff, I assume?
Yes, indeed. I feel bad because I bought that SN30 for to do wireless on Switch, and I've not fucking touched the thing because I've been playing my PS5 so much. It'll get some use when Metroid Dread comes out, don't worry about that. But yeah, I've been playing more PS5 stuff, juggling some stuff. I've been playing Fist! Forged in Shadow Torch! Which you can't just say it normally, you gotta say it like Fist!
It's not Fist, it's Fist!
Fist! Forged in Shadow Torch. Yeah, it's the Metroidvania with the rabbit with the giant metal fist on his back.
Yeah.
And it is really cool. It looks great and it runs like a dream and it's fun. I do have some niggles with it that I'm not quite I feel like a rebalancing, a patch might be in order. Because I think my biggest frustration with it, and it is fun, I do like exploring, and I like the combat when I get into a good flow.
Yeah.
The thing that holds it back for me, and this is such a weird technical thing to have to explain, but like, there's something about the combat that's a bit off, and what I mean by that is that there's an ambiguity when it comes to what enemy attacks are interruptible and which aren't.
Oh god, yeah, I can see that being a major problem in a game like a Metroidvania.
Yeah, and also I don't like, it feels wrong that your attacks can lock you into these animations and then enemies can just run up from behind and smack you and you literally just can't do anything about it. Like, what are you supposed to do? Not attack enemies? And I get it, like, better position. There's only so much better positioning can do to alleviate that problem.
Yeah.
You've almost got to play in a very, you almost got to play in a very careful way, or you just have to fucking go ham and tank hits and hope it'll work out.
Just hope for the best.
Yeah. So it feels a little random in that regard, and I feel like it's so fun because the animations and sound effects are so meaty. And there's options and it's well designed and all that, but like these two little problems just kind of make it frustrating sometimes. And if there was more indication of what you have to dodge versus what can be interrupted, because there's just so many times where like you and an enemy will attack into each other, and sometimes you get priority and sometimes they get priority, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it, and you just gotta kind of remember what attacks do what. and I wish there was some more clarity, at least some more clarity on that. If not, readjust that in some way. I've also heard that there's some game locking bugs later on. I haven't run into any, and apparently they're pretty rare, but those should probably get patched too. Things like running into a boss room and the boss doesn't spawn, but the door's closed, so you're just trapped.
Reminds me of the fucking, oh god, what was it? Reminds me when I was playing Doom 2016 on my Switch, and I accidentally activated the floor clipping glitch, where like if you crouch a certain way on stairs, you actually clip through the stairs and you can go through the world, and that's actually a common game, like a common like speedrunning game exploit, but I just did it completely on accident and died.
You're a shit speedrunner is what you are.
I'm not a speedrunner at all.
Remember that time I accidentally did a speedrunning trick in, at least I think I did, in Sphinx?
You mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, where I was in the last puzzle section with the mummy, and I fell through the... I didn't fall through the floor or anything. I died in a very specific spot by falling off a ledge, and I just spawned after the fucking puzzle course. I'm like, well, I guess I just skipped that. Woo! I guess I fell into like a weird clipping like death zone where it spawned me later in the game than I was, or something. So I skipped the last puzzle zone because I just died in the wrong spot, I guess.
Speedrunning strats.
Yeah, I can now say I speedran Sphinx Curse of the Mummy.
By complete technicality.
Put me on the leaderboards. Probably wouldn't do very well.
God, that just reminds me of like, there are a lot of different like tiers to speedrunning. Like different games have different like levels of completion to speedrunning, or like different goals in mind. I think the laziest, I think the laziest speedrunning type is like the type where it's just like, oh, if you get the credits to trigger, then you've beaten the game. Like, sometimes that's just like, just clipping through like 3 areas, going into a room, and then suddenly credits roll. Like,
well, usually that becomes its own category then.
Yeah, but like, it's probably the least interesting category in my opinion. Because it's like, I still kind of want to see you play the game though.
I haven't done any research into this, but Sphinx seems like a really if there's not a ton of exploits, it seems like a pain in the ass to speedrun because there's so many like, money gates and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they have ways to fucking bounce in the right spot and just fucking skip over that shit.
100% speedrun Shadow the Hedgehog takes 44 hours.
Yeah, did we talk about that last episode, or was that off episode?
I think that might have been off episode, but just in case, Shadow the Hedgehog has, I think, like 326 or something, like quote-unquote endings, which is really just like the various ways that you can traverse the level select screen using, like, you know, good ending, bad ending, or neutral ending to a stage.
Yeah.
And and I think the fastest speed run for that is currently at like 44 hours.
Yeah.
Like, it takes you 44 hours. Like, that's the most optimized speed run for Shadow the Hedgehog, 100%. Which I think is just like the weirdest speedrun category.
Yeah, I remember it used to take like literal weeks of playing or something.
Just like 138 hours or some shit, yeah.
That's got to be spliced.
It has to be.
Otherwise, you're counting in your poop times.
Hold on, man. I gotta go. Shit.
You gotta speed run your biology, or else you're not gonna get that record.
I mean, to be fair, you could take a shit during like the credit sequences while the ending themes are running. Because like it only takes like about 30 minutes to get through. It only takes about 30 minutes to get through a route.
That's true, but also you can normally skip credits, can't you?
I think you can skip credits after you have beaten a particular ending once.
But if you're in a new save file, you wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
So I guess you probably could then.
'Tis complicated.
You have the dynamics of bodily functions in speedrunning. So I'm not a speedrunner. I have an overactive bladder. I couldn't do it, at least not without splicing.
Yeah. Which is often frowned upon in the speedrunner community, unfortunately.
Yeah. Also, back to what I was playing. Things I have not been speedrunning. I've also been going through the entire... I bought Hitman 3 on sale, and I've been going through the entire World of Assassination trilogy. And as far as the chart is concerned, you know, for this run of it, I'm just going through all of the main missions once in some sort of, you know, whatever way I feel like doing them. I'm not gonna like being like, well, to actually beat the game, I have to sasso all the levels. Like, I'm like, I'll do that at a later. I'll do like that because they're so replayable. Like, it's one of those situations where like just playing through these games the intended way the one time, it doesn't feel like beating them because there's so much more to them and so much replaying the maps to do.
Yeah.
And I'll do all that, but I'm just saying for the chart is concerned, I'm just going to go through the entire trilogy once over. And I'm about halfway through Hitman 3 now, so I'm almost done with that. So I can add it to the chart.
Yeah, I need to continue my run through the Halo games because I have Master Chief Collection. Why aren't I doing that? Probably going to start up on Halo 3 pretty soon.
What are you talking about, Kevin? I see you playing Halo all the time.
That's entirely multiplayer. Me and Saradin play multiplayer a lot together, and it only took until very recently, after I've done like 500 multiplayer matches, that I finally started to get good at Halo.
Persistence.
There's
perseverance, Shonen Jump virtues.
There's a lot of like really small little things you have to learn about, like how each weapon works, what the best situation for each weapon is, and like how best to handle each different situation. Like there's a lot of very small things you have to learn while playing Halo multiplayer if you want to actually get good at it. Like having decent aim is only the first part of it. But thankfully, I'm not shit at first-person shooters, so I had that one in the bag already.
Yeah.
Yeah, thankfully I've played enough Doom and GoldenEye and shit to know how to aim in a game.
Yeah, that rhymes.
But, yeah, getting good at Halo has been a journey. And, like, the way that Halo plays is slightly different for every game.
Yeah.
Like Halo 1 is completely broken. That game was not necessarily made as a competitive multiplayer experience. Multiplayer was just made as like a bonus thing on top of the regular campaign so that you had more stuff to do after the game was over.
And yet
it went somewhere. Halo 2 was where they started actually developing Halo multiplayer with like competitive gameplay in mind. I believe that was actually the first game to be playable on Xbox Live. Previously it was like LAN only. LAN only and split screen multiplayer. Woo!
Yeah.
But yeah, Halo 2 was the first like online multiplayer Halo. I feel like Halo 3 is where they really nailed it, though. There are elements of Halo 3 that are, like, much worse than Halo 2. But then again, there are also parts of Halo 2 that are worse than Halo 1. Like,
yeah.
One of the weirdest things about Halo is how the Needler works in every game. Needler in Halo... Needler in Halo...
That's the spiky thing, right?
Yeah, with the purple spikes jutting out of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Needler in Halo 1 is ridiculously overpowered and it just snaps the game into. The Needler in Halo 1 just snaps the game into. The Needler in Halo 2 is massively nerfed, but you can dual wield it, so it's kind of useful, but at that point you're better off just getting 2 SMGs and going crazy with it. Because the SMGs are actually fucking ridiculous in that game. Like they're pretty good at close range. In Halo 3, they didn't make the Needlers any more powerful, but they removed the ability to dual wield them, which made them completely fucking useless in Halo 3. Halo Reach made it slightly better. They slightly increased the fire rate of it and the way that, like, it doesn't have as much of a wide spread, and it homes in a little bit better. Whereas in Halo 4, they kind of reverted it a little bit more back to Halo 1, but they made it faster. Meaning it's actually a decent power weapon now. Halo 4, it's actually classified as a power weapon, whereas in 2, 3, and Reach, it isn't. It's just weird that the Needler has been just, like, so inconsistent across all the games. And from what I've seen about Halo Infinite, they buffed the Needler again.
Hell yeah.
The Needler is fucking ridiculous now. We're all the way back to the classics, baby. Let's go. Snap the game in two.
Hell yeah.
Woo! I am actually really excited for Halo Infinite now. Like, I genuinely fucking love Halo now. Like, I've always wanted to get into Halo, but never had the opportunity to. And now that I'm actually into Halo, and I'm like, oh, I really like this. Like, Halo's my shit. Halo's my shit. So, I'm really looking forward to Infinite. The fact that the campaign doesn't have co-op at launch is a bummer, admittedly. But I'm also not going to be buying the campaign at launch.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for that to go on a discount, and by the time it does, it'll probably have co-op by then. I'm going to be playing the multiplayer, which they're making the multiplayer free to play. But they're abstaining from making it like a pay-to-win thing. All of the things that you pay money for in Halo Infinite multiplayer is just like cosmetic assets and shit. You don't need to buy money. Buy money. What the fuck?
What?
I don't know. You don't need to buy anything in Halo Infinite to be good at Halo Infinite. Like, your skills in other Halo games just basically transfer over. You just need to get used to like how Halo Infinite structures its weapon systems and shit like that. Being competitive at Halo doesn't require money. And that's how it should be. That's how it's always been, and that's how it should be. So, the fact that Infinite's multiplayer is free to play isn't a bad thing at all. It's basically just taking one half of the game and making it free.
Yeah.
With, like, very little changes, and that's how it should be. Free-to-play games shouldn't be pay-to-win. That's the way that I look at everything. Like, free-to-play games should not be pay-to-win because that is scummy and that is anti-consumer. And you know how much I am just, like, wildly against anti-consumer practices.
Yep.
But yeah, looking forward to that.
Yep. So I was distracted because apparently David Hayter wants to voice Wolverine in the new game.
Can he, though?
I don't know. I'd assume they'd already casted someone, but he just said on Twitter, I was thinking that I'd like to do that.
I hope he does.
Be great.
That would be cool.
Did you know he wrote the screenplay for the first and second X-Men films?
Well, I believe the second X-Men film was co-written by him, but yeah.
Yeah, well, he contributed writing to the screenplay.
Yes, David Hayter, known for voicing Solid Snake and also being the writer for the first X-Men movie. It was such a weird thing to be known for.
Yeah, David Hayter, woo! Yeah. So yeah, I mentioned this to you privately a while ago. It's interesting that you're moving away from the gaming and I'm getting more into the gaming and away from the anime.
Yeah, the thing is, like, my living situation over the last couple of years kind of prevented me from really diving into new TV shows and anime very often. I did occasionally, but it was for like things that are a lot shorter and that I can like consume more piecemeal and whatever. Or situations where like I could specifically set aside time for it. Like I couldn't do it casually anymore. Casual anime viewing versus ranked competitive anime viewing.
I know what I was doing in 2014.
Yeah, you were. Fuck. You were watching everything.
Well, yeah.
Oh god. Brain? Okay, there we go. Meanwhile, I was playing a lot more games because that was more flexible in a lot of ways. Anime is... I've mentioned this before, but like the time that you are watching an anime episode is kind of a fixed point in time. And like you can't take exceptionally long breaks in the middle of like an anime episode, or else it breaks the flow of the show too much, and that negatively impacts the viewing experience. I'm reminded when I was trying to do like a live watch of the Rockman EXE anime, or Mega Man NT Warrior for you plebeians, and it took me 2 hours to watch an episode because I was constantly being interrupted, and at that point I'm just like, I'm not having fun with this.
Yeah, this is a burden.
Yeah, like I was actually having just like too much of a problem actually watching this even remotely casually, so I just was just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take a break from anime for a while. I'm gonna focus on video games, because at the very least there I can take a few minutes, play the game, pause, and it doesn't break the flow of gameplay that badly. Like most games I can just like play a little bit, put it down, do shit, come back, play a little bit. Like it's more flexible in that regard compared to watching movies and TV shows and anime and whatever. Meanwhile, now that things have calmed down, I have my own room and I have far more free time, and I don't have to look after kids nearly as much. I can now actually watch more anime, which is why I've been watching Gao Gaigar and soon Symphogear and Fire Force and shit. But it's nice to be able to get back to that, because I fucking love anime, man.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with the anime man.
No, you are not that guy.
My name is not Joey.
Unfortunate.
Or is that fortunate? I actually don't have any I actually don't have anything against like Joey or Garnt or any of the like Trash Taste podcast guys. They seem to be pretty cool guys. They used to be kind of, you know, elitist dicks, but they kind of stopped doing that, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Hell, friggin' Garnt or Gigic mentioned like a few times on the podcast that like he looks back on his Anime Zone anime reviewer days with like great shame and disgust, because it's just like, oh god, I was so full of myself.
I hope so. You should be ashamed.
He was just like, holy shit, those
I'm
old
just
videos are bad.
I'm just remembering his review of the Danganronpa anime. Made me very angry.
Yeah. Well, you'll be happy to know that it probably disgusts him too.
Hopefully. We can only hope.
Isn't he the one who referred to it as a horror show?
Yeah! What a fucking idiot.
It's not, though. I mean, it's better than fucking Guinness World Records calling it like a Fight Club thing.
That's so funny.
You've been chosen to investigate a fight club with a cartoon bear. That is so off base.
You gotta find the wire puller. That comes from the V3 demo. I think it was the Taiwanese listing for it. The description, instead of using, you know, a traditional word like ring.
Kong. It was the Hong Kong release.
Yeah, Hong Kong. Yeah, I made a Taiwanese account, but I got it on the Hong Kong, whatever. Anyway, So their description, instead of using words like mastermind or ringleader or whatever, they said wire puller.
Technically accurate, but also, what is that word? It's not a word.
Yeah, that was some doesn't know English very well.
God, you, me, and a couple other people just like made fun of that for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's funny that they made up a third, because V3 makes a very important distinction between mastermind and ringleader.
It does.
So it is interesting that they came up with a third word for that just to throw us off even more.
Find the wire puller.
Solve the class trail. That was just a simple typo. But solve the class trail and find the wire puller.
Can you find the wire puller?
Oh, memories. Yeah, that's what we've been up to.
Yay!
Yeah, and I think we're gonna take a break here and then come back with some Reddit.
Yeah, boy, let's go.
Mm-hmm. See you on the next segment of the Baka Gaijin show. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the Baka Gaijin show with those two fucks you know.
Yeah.
That's him and me. If you were confused, we're not responsible for the other voices in your head.
Yeah, for that you need to see a licensed psychiatrist.
Well, all we'll say here is you know what you did, and you deserve whatever happens to you.
So, what are we gonna do now, buddy?
We're gonna go Reddit diving.
Woo!
Now, Kevin, you are not what one might call a Redditor. Am I correct in my assessment?
I believe you would be correct in that assessment, yes. Not typically someone who peruses the Reddits very often.
Yeah, so you may be unfamiliar with some of the more famous, or rather infamous, Reddit posts that have cropped up over the years. So, to any die-hard Redditors out there, some of this may be familiar to you, but fuck you, no one listens to us. So, this is me sharing these stories with Kevin.
So, this guy right here, totally new.
Mm-hmm. This guy hasn't even heard the poop knife story.
The what?
The poop knife story.
Oh, God.
Kevin, are you even emotionally prepared for the poop knife story?
No. No, I'm not.
Well, this post is so legendary that it has a dedicated spot on our Museum of Reddit.
Oh my.
The Museum of Reddit subreddit where all the most legendary Reddit posts go.
Oh my God.
Archived for future generations. So here it goes. Here's the poop knife story. He writes, "My family poops big. Maybe it's genetic, maybe it's our diet, but everyone births giant logs of crap.
Okay.
If anyone is
okay. Wait.
Yeah?
Give me a second.
Yeah. Okay.
You don't just start a story with "my family poops big."
There's a backstory there, but, you know,
God.
that's for the sequel. If anyone has laid a mega poop, you know that sometimes it just won't flush. It lays across the hole in the bottom of the bowl, and the vortex of draining water merely gives it a spin as it mocks you. Growing up, this was a common enough occurrence that our family had a poop knife. It was an old rusty kitchen knife that hung on a nail in the laundry room, only to be used for that purpose. It was normal to walk through the hallway and have someone call out, "Hey, could you get me the poop knife? I thought it was standard kit. You've got your plunger, your toilet brush, and your poop knife." Fast forward to age 22. It's been a day or two between poops, and I'm over at my friend's house. My friend was the local dealer.
No.
My friend was the local dealer and always had guests over because you can't buy weed without sitting on your ass and sampling it for an hour. I excuse myself and lay a gigantic turd. I look down and see it's a sideways one, so I crack the door and call out to my friend. He arrives and I ask for his poop knife. My what? Your poop knife, I say. I need to use it, please. what the fuck is a poop knife? I mean, obviously he has one, but, you know, maybe he calls it by a more delicate name, a fecal cleaver, a dung divider, a guano glaive. I explain what it is I want and why I want it, and he starts laughing. He laughs at me, and then lots of people start laughing. It turns out the music stopped and everyone heard my pleas through the door. It also turns out that none of them had poop knives. It was just my fucked up family with their fucked up bowels. Fuck my life. I told this to my wife last night, who was amused and horrified at the same time. It turns out she did not know what a poop knife was either, and had been using the old rusty knife hanging in the utility closet as a basic utility knife. Thankfully, she never cooked with it, but she did use it to open some Amazon boxes. She will be getting her own utility knife now.
Okay. Oh my...
To answer a common question, why was this not in the bathroom instead of the laundry room? Answer, we only had one poop knife, and the laundry room was central to all 3 bathrooms. I have no idea why we didn't just have 3 poop knives. All I know is we didn't. We had the one. Possibly my father was notoriously cheap about the weirdest things, so yes, we'll share the same poop knife.
How am I supposed to respond to this?
It's just an entertaining story for all to come and bask in, you know?
The poop... Oh, God.
A lot of people have, like, you know, things they think are normal that it's just their family's weird bullshit.
Yeah, that's true, but... Man, a poop knife is next level, dude.
Yeah.
God, what am I, 12? Jesus. I'm laughing at a fucking poop knife, God.
It's a legendary story.
I can see why. Poop knife.
It conjured the imagination of thousands.
It's the poop knife.
What the? Yeah. So, here's another story.
Okay.
And this was on an Ask Reddit thread titled "What is the laziest thing you've ever done?"
Oh boy.
And this is a recollection from a user called Tupper Wolf. He said, late to the party, but this one is just too good to pass up. I was once on a U.S. military ship having breakfast in the wardroom, which is the officer's lounge, when the operations officer, or OPS, walks in. This guy was the definition of not a morning person. He's still half asleep, bleary-eyed, basically a zombie with a bagel.
Yeah.
He sits down across from me to eat his bagel and is just barely conscious. My back is to the outboard side of the ship, and the morning sun is blazing in from one of the portholes, putting a big, bright-ass circle of light right on his barely conscious face.
God, the guy with the bagel is just like me in the morning, though.
Yeah. He's squinting and chewing and basically just remembering how to be alive for today. It's painful to watch.
Yeah.
But as the zombie op stops chewing, he slowly picks up the phone and he dials the bridge. And in his well-known "I'm still totally asleep" voice, he says, "Hey, it's OPS. Could you shift our bar pet? Yeah, 165, thanks." And he puts the phone down. And then he just sits there, squinting, waiting. And then ever so slowly, I realized the big blazing spot of sun has begun to slide off the zombie's face and onto the wall behind him. After a moment, it clears his face and he blinks slowly a few times, and the brilliant beauty of what I've just witnessed begins to overwhelm me. By ordering the bridge to adjust the ship's back and forth patrol by just about 15 degrees, he has changed our course enough to reposition the sun off of his face. He has literally just redirected thousands of tons of steel and hundreds of people so he could get the sun out of his eyes while he eats his bagel. I am in awe. He slowly picks up his bagel, and for a moment I'm terrified of the thought that his own genius may yet escape him, that he may never appreciate the epic brilliance of his own laziness, since he's not going to be actually awake for another hour. But between his next bites, he pauses, looks at me, and gives me the faintest, slyest grin before returning to gnaw slowly on his zombie bagel.
That is so hilariously extra. Holy shit. I admire that man's dedication to pure, unbridled laziness in the morning. I wish I were on his level. Shit, man. That is something to aspire to.
Yep.
Don't work for everything else. Make everything else work for you.
You know, it's an art form, is what it is, really.
It is.
You know, It's like the hardest working people are often the people working the hardest to avoid working hard.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
There's it's one of the damned by faint praise compliments I get from my dad sometimes, where it's like where he will sometimes tell me, it's like, you don't want to work so much that I actually admire how efficient you can be at getting things done so you don't have to.
A little bit though, like you do that, I've noticed. And like, your dad ain't wrong. Let's be real here.
Yeah, I'm sure he wishes I worked harder anyway, but there's something to admire, and I think he's even said, because he's responsible for hiring at his company.
Yeah.
And he says something, I mean, there's obviously some lazy people are just lazy, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
But like the kind of lazy people that are so motivated by their laziness that they're actually hyper efficient, those are the people I want to hire.
Yeah, because they can get shit done fast, so they don't have to, waste their time.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of it's like a character thing with like Mordecai and Rigby, where like they do not want to work at all, but when they actually have to or are forced to, they get things done remarkably efficiently.
Yeah, because they want to get back to their lives of doing nothing.
Yep, it's implied to be the reason Benson keeps them around.
I mean, if they work, they work. I'd keep them around too if that was the case. It's like, if efficiency gets shit done, I'm not going to complain what your motivations are for it. Love how your dad's just like damning by faint praise. Meanwhile, I'm over here, teach me your ways, master.
Kevin, I think it's time for an "Am I the Asshole" moment.
Oh yeah, let's some of these stories are just so goddamn good.
Yeah.
Some of them make me really pissed off, but others I'm just like, huh?
Are they the asshole? Are they not the asshole? Who is the asshole? Are we all assholes in the end? These are the questions.
Everyone asks who is the asshole, but nobody asks why is the asshole. How is the asshole?
I would say coarsely textured and has a pungent aroma.
Okay, that's just going too far.
Yeah, that's what we do on this show. We push boundaries. Anyway, am I the asshole for asking my students' parents to replace my water bottle? I, 31-year-old female, am a daycare teacher and teach 15 kids aged 18 months to 2 years old.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a moment to brace myself for this one, I think. Oh boy.
It's me and my assistant teacher, 22F, female, and an occasional float assistant, whatever. I recently bought one of those gallon water bottles from Amazon and was super excited to use it. I waited 2 weeks for it to be delivered, and on the second day of using it, one of my students pulled it off the windowsill and cracked the bottom while making it leak. I told his dad what happened at pickup, and the dad was very apologetic on behalf of his son. The following morning, Mom dropped off, and the student brought me a smaller water bottle with my name printed on it as an apology. Am I the asshole for asking his parents to buy me the same water bottle he broke instead of just giving me the one they bought? My assistant says I'm overreacting and it's just a water bottle, and that they went out of their way to get a new water bottle and personalize it. I feel I am justified in asking for the exact one he broke.
No, at that point you're the asshole. Like, that was a selfless thing that they did. They didn't have to get you a new water bottle. You could have just gotten it yourself, but they went out of their way to get you one and fucking personalize it for you. Why are you complaining at that point? It's a free water bottle that's made specifically for you. Like, come on.
There's some good comments here.
What's your damage?
This may be controversial, but you are in fact the asshole. It's literally your job to watch a bunch of 18-month-year-olds. If you leave your stuff where they can break it, and they do, that's kind of on you.
That too.
My verdict might be different if this was a kid that was a guest in your home or were accompanied by their parents, but as a daycare teacher, you literally take responsibility for these children.
Yeah, that too.
There's another good one. I'm trying to find it.
People like this baffle me because they don't realize the position that they're in and the fact that, like, the people who do things for them are under no obligation to do that. You are just the person that they give their kids to so that they can go do other things for a while. You are you are just the help. They don't need to give you anything, but they went out of their way to replace something that their kid broke out of the goodness of their goddamn heart. And you're over here being pissy. It's like, well, it's not the same water bottle, and I wanted that one. So no, you're a dick.
Yeah, this comment lays it all out. Let me get this straight. You work with young toddlers and brought something really easily breakable by a young toddler to work and left it where a toddler could get to it.
Yep.
And you want the toddler's parents, who paid you to be responsible for their child, to take responsibility for the thing you brought and left within reach of a toddler you were responsible for. You know, I'm sure it was disappointing to have your water bottle broken so soon after you waited for it, but it was super kind of him to bring you a new one, but the parent was not in charge of keeping your water bottle safe. That's on you.
Yeah.
And you are the asshole if you insist on an exact replacement.
Yep, pretty much. That lays it out perfectly.
This is an open and shut case. OP, you're the asshole.
I rest my case, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury on Reddit.
Yeah. We got a McDonald's freakout story.
Woo, let's go.
I'm just waiting for it to load.
McDonald's freakout stories are fun. I don't know why it's McDonald's specifically that like attracts all these weirdos.
Yeah. It's always McDonald's and Walmart's.
It is. Sometimes they're, which is interesting because like Walmart and McDonald's kind of have a thing going on, so it's like it's I guess it's the same demographic of people by default.
I guess. Am I the asshole for not giving my coffee to an old woman who accused me of stealing it? This is a fresh post. This happened about an hour ago. Said the post from 2 days ago, but whatever. So I got a free large iced coffee through the McDonald's app and went through on my lunch break. I also got a tea and a McDouble. When I got there was a long line, but since I had ordered through the app, it only took about a minute for mine to come out. The employee sat my cup, bag, and coffee all on the counter together and called my name, slid all three toward me. I walked over to fill up my cup of tea, and an older woman grabs my arm and tells me, "That is her." And I respond, "No, madam, mine. I ordered it through the app." She raises her voice and tells me 2 more times that it is her coffee and I stole it from her. I did not raise mine back, but firmly said, "No, ma'am, it's not." At this point, everyone waiting in line has turned to see what's going on, and she was being loud. She turns around and leaves, comes back a minute later with a receipt that shows 1 large iced coffee, and starts yelling at me saying to give her coffee and that I had stolen it. I didn't yell, but I did raise my voice a bit back that time and said, "Ma'am, I believe you that you bought a coffee, but it is not this one. You are not the only person who can buy a large iced coffee." And at this point, she reaches over like she's grabbing for it, and I yelled, "Leave me alone, lady! This is my coffee!" Didn't even cuss or anything. Her husband pulled her away, and I put the lid on my tea, and as I walked out, the 2 of them passed me, and I saw a large iced coffee in her hand. She had it down low, trying to hide it behind her so I wouldn't see it. I pointed at it and said loudly, "That's what I thought," because I wanted everyone to know that I did not, in fact, steal this old woman's $1 coffee. The husband puts his finger to my face and says he's going to call Lowe's, where I work, and have me fired. I laughed and said, "Go ahead and try." Am I the asshole? I didn't think I did anything wrong, but a few of my coworkers said I blew it out of proportion, and I should have just given her my coffee to shut her up. I strongly disagree and stand behind how I handled it, but I want to know the opinion of the masses.
I'm gonna be real. I'd have handled it the exact same fucking way. That's my coffee, you bitch. You're not taking my coffee. Fuck you.
Top comment, not the asshole, and you were proven right. She was just trying to scam you out of your coffee.
Yeah.
McDonald's managers will normally step in during an altercation and give them a free coffee just to shut them up. But it's telling that they didn't this time. She may have tried this before.
Yeah. Entirely possible. Like,
we got a conspiracy theory on our hands.
God, yeah, no, like, oh, God. People like that woman are just, oh my God. I can't get, oh boy.
Who knows how often she's scamming people out of things using the Old Lady Act.
Oh, probably very often. I'm just a feeble old lady. Let me yell at you at the top of my lungs.
Why the fuck are so many people such doormats? Like, I don't like confrontation either, but I would never say someone should just give up something they paid for just to not make a scene.
It's like, what is... Like, are you gonna give up your fucking newly bought PS5 because the kid behind you in line was like, but mommy, I want a PS5? Like, no.
Fucking... You gotta stand your ground. That's what we advocate for on this podcast. Standing your ground.
You bought it. It's your money. You don't have to give up shit.
It's my money and I want it now. Call H.G. Wentworth. 877 cash now.
Oh god, that was like every morning on G4. Jeez.
Not a sponsor. Also, I don't think they're around anymore. So there's that.
Yeah, this is also a pretty open and shut one. Like, I'm confused as to why everybody at their work thought that they were the asshole and they should have just given the old lady the coffee. Like, they're not the one who escalated it. It was the old lady who was yelling at the top of their lungs and causing a scene and grabbing for the coffee.
Well, there's a number of factors to consider here, Kevin, and that's that. I think that's the more interesting question: is why other people think we should all be such doormats and not stand up for ourselves. And I think it's partially because they're perhaps projecting a little. You know, perhaps they've had a lot of somewhat similar situations where like they found it to be more strategically advantageous to, you know, to give the other person what they want, to not make a scene or whatever. I imagine if they work in like an office space, that might be, you know, a common occurrence.
Yeah, but see,
maybe they should grow a fucking spine.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. I've been in those situations and I've tried doing that, and it never works out for me.
Yeah, in the long run.
Being the doormat just meant it was easier for people to take advantage of me. So
I remember.
I'm not going to be the doormat anymore.
I know. You have grown remarkably in assertiveness since we started this podcast longer ago than I care to admit.
Thank you very much, actually.
You're welcome. One other thing to keep in mind, though, when you read posts like this is that, and I'm not saying it applies to this post, this seems pretty cut and dry, but like, when people give these sorts of stories, sometimes they embellish details. Everyone has like a protagonist syndrome where they make themselves seem better. That's why posts where they actually are the asshole are always so interesting psychologically, because either they didn't do that or they did do that and they still ended up looking like the asshole.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show how little self-awareness some people have. But it is possible that maybe this person was fludging some details and their coworkers got a more true version of the story. I don't think that's what happened. I think that their coworkers are just sheep. But you know. Yeah,
it just sounds to me like everybody at this person's work is a fucking pussy. Yeah. For lack of a better term. And that's coming from someone who used to be a massive pussy.
Former pussy, retired pussy.
The podcaster formerly known as Pussy.
Yes. Indeed. Am I the asshole for allowing my friend to spy on my future mother-in-law?
Okay. Wow, we're escalating, aren't we?
A little bit.
All right, let's see how this goes.
They write, I'm getting married soon, and one of my best friends is a seamstress. My mother-in-law mentioned that her dress was too long and I recommend my friend, but didn't mention we were friends, just said I'd used her in the past. I have vented to this specific friend about my mother-in-law. We have a very tense, awkward relationship, though not openly hostile. My friend took it upon herself to fish for information and asked my mother-in-law how she felt about her son getting married. My mother-in-law said it was kind of sad because it's one more person she feels obligated to invite to holidays. She then said holidays have been fun for her, haven't been fun for her in years, and her husband is trying to convince her to just stop doing it. Mother-in-law said she doesn't feel comfortable around any of her children's partners, so it's just cooking for hours to have awkward dinners with people she doesn't enjoy. My friend asked if she was sad about losing her baby boy, and the mother-in-law said not really. She's just annoyed because family gatherings have become painful for her. It isn't fun. It feels so fake. My friend asked me if I wanted to know what mother-in-law said about me during her appointment, and obviously I was curious. I said yes, and she told me. I told my fiance, and he called my mother-in-law and wasn't confrontational, but said her attitude was toxic. Mother-in-law snapped and said I lied to her by not telling her that she was my friend and that I spied on her. I said my friend did that on her own, and maybe mother-in-law shouldn't have admitted those things to a stranger. Mother-in-law now feels we're punishing her for her feelings, and her and my father-in-law aren't speaking to us anymore. Am I the asshole?
I'm not sure if anybody's the asshole here. I think it's just, like, really bad communication.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you what the top comment says. The top comment judges you're the asshole. Your mother-in-law wasn't being toxic. She was just being honest about how hard it is for her to host people she doesn't feel comfortable with, and who can blame her? Why would she feel comfortable with a sneaky, deceitful person like you? Ooh. It's like you seriously wrote a post saying, I spied on my mother-in-law, and now she claims she doesn't trust me. It's so unfair!
Yeah, that is a good point. And, like, I could actually understand where the mother-in-law is coming from. You're not obligated to keep people around you that make you uncomfortable, even if they are family or extended family or people that your family knows or whatever. Like, you're not obligated to keep anybody around that you don't like. So, like, if you're not comfortable around, you know, the in-laws or, like, the significant others of, like, your various offspring or whatever the hell, like, you're not obligated to keep those people around. So, like, and that is a really good point to make, because, like, they, by their own admission, had someone spy on their mom, and, like, trying to throw it back at the mom for, you know, opening up to, like, a random person rather than, like, family members is just, like, that's kind of a dick move, admittedly, because, like, it might be telling that your mom is more comfortable around a total fucking stranger than her family? Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Here's some insightful comments. Note how OP didn't even bother to think, maybe I should attempt to help out and host an event where she can actually enjoy herself, but no, she instead was a stuck-up, miserable brat instead. Dude, OP missed out on a literal golden ticket. She had insider knowledge and could have used it to try and broach the gap between her and her mother-in-law, but instead she did whatever this was.
Yeah. This was like a really complicated thing, and, like, for a second there I was just, like, eyes crossed trying to figure out what the hell I just heard. But then, like, the more you look into it and, like, the psychology behind, like, each different person and how they were handling it, the more you kind of realize OP was being really, really shitty.
Yeah.
And, like,
it takes a moment to kick in sometimes. You gotta think about it.
Because, like, there's a lot of, like, bad communication going on in this story overall, but the person who was the most at fault here and the person who was causing the most issue was OP.
Yeah.
And at that point, yeah, you're the asshole. Sorry.
Absolutely.
AITA? Why?
Oh, I almost skipped over this one. This is funny.
Oh, please do.
It's a pretty legendary story. Today I fucked up by enraging the parents of my girlfriend by pretending not to know what a potato is.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be beautiful. Let's go.
Okay. Let me tell you that I have made a bad mistake this evening. This was 7 years ago, by the way. This is a pretty old post. My girlfriend, who, let me tell you, is only my second girlfriend ever, said I'm invited to dinner with her and her parents. I was very aghast, nervous, and bashful to be invited to such a situation, but I knew it must be done. I met them nicely, I should tell you. I like how this guy talks. I should tell you. And it started off in a good way. The idea slapped my mind that I should do a comedic bit to make a good impression and become known to them as a person who is amusing.
Oh, no.
I really like how this guy talks. When I saw that baked potatoes were served, I got the idea that it would be very good if I pretended I did not know what potatoes was. That would be funny. Let me tell you This backfired on my face. I will tell you how. So first, when the potato became on my plate, I acted very interesting. I showed an expression on my face so as to seem that I was confused, astounded, but in a restrained way, yes, and interested. They did notice and seemed confused, but did not remark, so I asked, "This looks very interesting. What is this?" They stared at me, and the mother said, "It's a baked potato." And I was saying, "Oh, interesting, a baked... What is it again?" And she was like, "A potato." And I was like, "A potato? Oh, interesting. Never heard of a potato. Looks pretty good." And they didn't see that I was clowning, but thought I really did not know what is a potato.
Oh dear.
So I knew I would be very shamed, humiliated, depressed, and disgusted if I admitted to making a bad joke. So what I did was to act as if it was not a joke, but I committed to the act of pretending I didn't know what a potato is. They asked me, very incredulous, did I not really know what a potato is? That I never heard of a potato. I went with it and told them yes, I did not even ever hear of a potato. Not only had I never eaten a potato, I had never heard the word potato. This went on for a bit, and my girlfriend was acting very confused and embarrassed by my fucked up antics, and then the more insistent I was about not knowing what a potato is, when them parents started thinking I did know what a potato was. Tell you, I had to commit 100% at this point. When I would not admit to knowing what a potato was, the father especially began to get annoyed. At one point he said something like, "Enough is enough, you're fucking with us, admit it." And I said, "Sir, before today, I never heard of a potato. I still don't know what a potato is, other than some kind of food. I don't know what to tell you." "Well, let me tell you," I decided to take a bite of the potato, and when I did, I made a high-pitched noise and said, "Tastes very strange." That is when the father started yelling at me, and the mother kept saying, "What are you doing?" And my girlfriend went to some other room. Finally, the father said I fuck out of his house, and I said it was irrational to treat me like this just because I'd never heard of a potato before. Well, let me tell you, he didn't take that kindly. Now, in text messages, I have been telling my girlfriend, I really don't know what a potato is. The only way I can ever get out of this is for them to buy that I don't know what a potato is. I wish I never started it, but I can't go back. I think she will break up with me anyway. His somewhat broken English really adds to the story.
Oh my god.
Well, let me tell you. I think he fucked up a little bit.
That's pretty bad. Imagine torpedoing your relationship because you pretended not to know what the hell a potato is. God. Why do people do this to themselves?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, just admit it. Just admit it was a bad joke. This is not worth committing to the bit.
I like one of the top comments. When confronted about this horrible joke, insist it never happened with the exact same level of commitment. Maybe they'll just think you have a disorder.
Yeah.
At this point, this might be a good idea.
I think that's...
No, you should continue to do this with something different every time you see them. Oh, what's this giant chair thing we're all sitting on called again? Oh, a couch. Very interesting. It's very strange. Get the fuck out of my house. Oh, house. Interesting. Never heard of a house. Looks pretty good. Tastes much better than the couch did. Get the fuck out of my couch.
Tastes much better than the couch. Oh,
if he does this, we can have an amazing moment where the term couch potato finally has true meaning to him. That is the single best thought any human has ever had. Pack it up, human race, we're done.
Big brain moment.
Mm-hmm. Send them a bouquet of potatoes as an apology. And on the card, write, enjoy your, quote, potatoes, in quotes, as if you still don't believe they're real.
Yeah, just gift them a bag of russets and just go.
Yeah. This is some straight up Costanza shit.
Oh god, this is... Fuck, man.
That is a fun story.
That's amazing. Holy shit.
Mhm. We've all been there.
That is sitcom level
all,
shit. Goddamn.
I know. We've all had those moments where, like, I'm going to make life into a cartoon for a second, and then it backfires horribly.
I made a mistake. I made a mistake. I made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Can't tell you how many times I've tried doing that. Like earlier today when I tried to D's nuts you in the middle of a podcast.
Yep. Mm-hmm. That was a mistake.
That didn't go well.
Today I fucked up by trying to D's nuts my co-host in a podcast.
Am I the asshole?
No, you're just really bad at what you're doing.
I tried.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't work, but I goddamn tried. Oh man, these Reddit stories are so interesting because, like, this is the kind of crazy shit that my life never has happened to it. So I'm just like baffled at some of the shit that people have happened in their lives. It's just like, in some small way, I wish my life were as interesting as these people's lives, so that I could have a story like this to tell people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think about that a lot. I think about, like, just how many fucking people there are and how many interactions and events happen in the world that we never hear about, we never see. And it's only recently that, you know, the internet allows us to chronicle these things. You know, think about all the fucked up stories that happened throughout all of human history we'll never get to hear about because nobody ever wrote it down.
Yeah, like, there's so much, like, not even like big human history, but like small little bits of like individual human experience that we'll never know over the last few centuries, just because we had no way to like chronicle them and share them with a wider audience. And now we have Reddit.
Yep, and now we have Reddit. And that's really the moral of the story, honestly.
Reddit is the modern library of Alexandria? I don't fucking know.
You know, that's not a bad argument.
It's an argument.
Mm-hmm. I like it. Why do I have that stuck in my head today? It's the only thing that's stuck in my head.
It's a fun song.
Yeah.
That's the way.
I like it. Well, now you're going kind of in an Elvis direction. You know, his favorite sandwich sounds pretty delicious.
What is that?
It's the fried peanut butter banana sandwich, with optional bacon.
Ooh, it's like.
Yeah.
Interestingly, the bacon sounds like it would weirdly work in like a sweet and savory kind of way.
Yeah, a fried peanut butter banana bacon sandwich. They actually sell that at the Elvis Museum in Nashville, I want to say.
I guess I'm going to Nashville.
Yeah, I think I saw Red and Link try it once on like on a vlog or something.
I'm probably gonna have a heart attack afterwards, but sounds great.
I mean, it doesn't sound. Oh yeah, that's also true. It's actually fried in bacon fat. That's part of the thing.
It's like inherently unhealthy.
I mean, when you're fucking Elvis, you can do what you want.
And then you die a young age. Yeah.
I don't think he died of a heart attack. I don't think that's canon.
It wasn't. It was an overdose, but
yeah. Hopefully not of sandwiches.
No.
Nope.
Imagine just overdosing on sandwiches.
I mean, you can overdose on anything, you know.
True.
Mm-hmm. Look up the symptoms of overhydration.
I have. It's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. I casually dehydrate myself because of my condition. I shouldn't. But I do.
You've mentioned that to me off recording before.
Yeah, I'm having testing done this week. Some bladder testing stuff.
Yeah, hopefully that goes well. Figure out what the hell your issue is and how they can fucking fix it. It's gonna be a very uncomfortable hour or so, but hopefully it'll lead to some answers. Hopefully.
This got serious all of a sudden.
We're over here just talking about random fucking Reddit shit, and then suddenly it's like, I'm going to the doctor because I have a serious medical condition. I hope they figure out what's wrong with me.
We got that from Elvis somehow.
Thanks, Elvis.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Yelvis.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog!
Yep. Same thing, just louder.
Yes.
Indeed. Oh. Should we wash away the poor taste with a funny Reddit story?
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Okay. Let's see. This one is marked as an extra large fuck up.
Oh no.
I don't know if I was cut off mid-sentence, but we're back now. We're back.
Yay.
So, right. This is an extra large fuck up. It's called Today I Fucked Up the Time I Took a Bunk Bed Up the Booty Hole.
Oh, oh no. Okay.
So,
let's see how this goes.
He writes, this happened a very long time ago, so not today, but every once in a while it comes back creeping into my mind like a bull elephant in rut, so I thought, how can I make this funny for everyone? Here it goes. You remember punch balloons? I don't see them around too much anymore, but in the late 80s, I couldn't be drugged through a grocery store without begging my parents for one of these devices. Giant balloons with big rubber bands you tied to it. You punched the balloon and held onto the rubber band and it would snap back and you punched it again, kind of like an oversized paddle ball. But boys being boys, it always devolved into a weapon of war, so we go around trying our hardest to cause severe brain damage to each other until the rubber band snapped and we were left with, well, just a balloon.
Of course.
It is this balloon that was the cause of maybe the most embarrassing and traumatizing experience of my young life. I was from the typical 80s broken home. Mom wrangled me and my sister for 2 weeks, and then Dad picked us up for a weekend of debauchery and anarchy. Such is life. Such is life. But my father remarried to a lady with 2 boys of her own, and then they had another, so 2 times a month, my dad's house, where 5 kids in it, sleeping arrangements were difficult. So like many homes with a litter of children, we had bunk beds. The bunk beds were used as bunk beds until one of my brothers fell out of the fucker, so then they were quickly debunked and placed on opposite sides of the room. These were big, heavy wood frame beds that had little wooden posts that were about half an inch around and 2 inches long that stuck up from each bedpost, and a corresponding drill hole from the bottom of the post so that one bed could be lifted onto the other and would lock in place by the post fitting in the hole.
Oh no.
That's enough setup. On to the fuck up. Me and my brothers were up in the room bashing the punch balloon around sans rubber band because we'd already broken it, clubbing the shit out of each other. We developed a game where the balloon could not hit the floor lest there would be punishment. The punishment consisted of the winner beating you about the brain bucket several times with the balloon held by the knot so that you could impart maximum force into the torture device. Then we would retreat to opposite beds and start another round. My younger brother was serving the balloon, and you know what the little bitch did to me? He pulled the balloon up in front of his face, pushed it about an inch away, and let it fall to the floor. I wasn't going out like that, so I jumped off the bed and dove to the floor to save it from touching. Unfortunately, for me, the thing popped straight up into the reach of the waiting bitch boy. He did exactly what any of us would have done. Take 2 bounces on the bed, jump as high over the balloon as possible. I looked up to see him flying over the balloon with his knees pulled up to his ears like some sort of kindergarten Spider-Man with a shit-eating grin as he spiked the balloon back down on the floor. He landed, startling me, but still in the squatted position he had took in the air, and married his ass to my face. He caught the balloon by the knot as it bounced on the floor and proceeded to pummel me with it before I could even right myself from the dive. Well played, little brother. I was the first victim of this newly invented power teabag. I retreated, brushing off dust and figuratively picking pubes out of my teeth. Back on the bed, and the next round begins. So far, the only thing that's hurt is my pride, but that's about to change.
Oh no.
My brother won that round, so he gets to serve again. This time, I'm going all out. We're on the beds and off the beds, jumping, diving, leaping, rolling. It's a great match. I'm standing on the bed, and my brother is standing on the other one. He whacks the balloon hard, and it comes flying across the room, headed towards the foot of the bed at light speed. I make a quick move towards it, but at the last second, the balloon decides it's going to slow to a crawl and shoot up towards the ceiling. I stepped to the edge of my bed, right where the corner of the mattress met the bedpost. I reached as far as I could and swiped at the balloon. I missed. But the momentum of me clawing at that piece of shit cock-sucking balloon was enough to cause my sock-clad feet to slip from the mattress.
The sudden aggression.
Caused my sock-clad feet to slip from the mattress and shoot straight into the air in front of me. There I was, falling ass first into what I had thought was going to be a soft landing on the bed. When I hit, confusion was one of the feelings that was present in the giant rush of pain and emotion. I didn't know what happened yet. All I knew was it felt like someone lit the Empire State Building on fire and pounded it straight up my ass.
Oh.
Remember that post that stuck out of the bed that hold it together in a bunk bed mode? I certainly do. It haunts my dreams some 30 years later. I had slipped off the bed and managed to fall on and ram that post clean up my asshole all the way to the hilt. Hilt? Yes, a hilt. The bulbous end to the bedpost was there to stop me. Me and my poor little boy berries. That's right. Not only am I dealing with a way too friendly bedpost, I'm also reeling from getting blasted in the balls with the force of a kicking Clydesdale. Now I am 6'1" and 190 pounds, but back then I was a smaller than average child. Today I would be easily able to plant my feet and lift myself off the intruding pylon, but being as small as I was, my feet couldn't touch the fucking floor.
Oh.
I desperately swung my feet at the floor, pointing my toes, trying to get the slightest bit of traction, but only hit air. I felt destined to slide down that thing until it was coming out the top of my head like some great value version of Vlad the Impaler. I just want to take a moment to realize this guy's a good writer.
Yes, he's very, very colorful in his descriptions.
I eventually was able to stick one leg down and get purchase enough on the floor to dislodge myself and fall to a mess. Holding my balls with one hand and my bleeding dirt knot with the other, I made that sound that little kids make when that causes parents the world over to take notice. I don't remember the next few moments. I don't remember my mother picking me up from my dad's house, but I do remember the visit to the hospital. The doctor came in the room, he was gloved up, he put on what I thought at the time to be an egregious amount of lube, and rammed his Pringles can-sized fingers up my tiny beat-up cornhole. At that point, I realized there was not enough lube in this world. I tried to fold myself in a half backwards, clenching every muscle that I thought might prevent that foot-long kielbasa finger from going in further, but he was just too strong. I failed. And after he was done checking my tonsils, as it were, he told my mother there were no tears. He told my mother there were no tears and just a bruised tailbone. Now, cue the social workers. Apparently, my injuries were consistent enough with quote-unquote abuse that I had to tell this story to every social worker in the fucking state.
No, oh God.
Probably a few cops and even some guys, I'm sure, just pulled out of the waiting room laughing the whole way in. Like, you gotta hear the story of this poor bastard. But wait, there's more.
No.
I was sent home with a giant pink blow-up donut that I had to take to school to sit on for 2 weeks. Look at me! I'm the socially awkward weakling with the pink-ass pad is not the greatest way to make friends in the 4th grade. This event followed me to high school when a girl I have never seen before came up to me and asked if I was the kid that got ass raped a long time ago. That's right. The rumor that I got brutally ass raped lasted more than 4 years. That's my legacy. Thanks for laughing with me, or at me, or whatever this made you feel. Don't worry, I'm healed now, mostly.
My chest hurts. Ow. Ah. Holy shit. What a journey that was.
Mm-hmm. We've been taken on an adventure today, Kevin.
God, when it just kept going and getting worse. God, the phrasing this guy used for
This is
like
a story.
every element.
This is a story he's been meaning to tell his whole life.
It's like, this is my shining moment of pure dumbassery, and now the world must know. It's like, I've been waiting for this day. I'm selling the movie rights. Holy shit!
Some people had questions.
Imagine getting a bedpost rammed up your ass because you were being a rambunctious little kid, and then years later in high school, it's like, hey, were you the guy that got fucked in the ass? God.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate that there was once a time where it was socially acceptable to just go, hey, are you the kid that got ass raped?
That's another part of it. That just sounds so fucking absurd. This is just pure absurdity. But then again, you have to realize, high school kids don't have any concept of social acceptability.
That's true. I feel like that could still happen today. It's just canceled on Twitter for it.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Man, I hate consequences. Somebody was like, I don't understand, were you playing naked or did the thing just go up your butt along with your pants? And he responded, it tore straight through. My condolences.
Jeez, the force it would have to have to go straight through. Holy shit.
Did this damage your intestines? That's a fucked up story, man. No, just the rim of the brown eye from what I understand. It was mostly just bruising, but I had to sit on that damn pink donut for 2 weeks.
The rim of the brown eye.
I remember walking home from school with that thing tucked under my arm because it wouldn't fit in my backpack. Fucking bunk beds.
Fucking bunk beds. A great value version of Vlad the Impaler.
People are like, man, fantastic storytelling. You should be a writer. I love some asshole responded with R, this didn't happen, and OP is like, what do you want, my medical records? Go fuck yourself. Imagine having a pole rammed up your ass and then 30 years later some idiot on Reddit's like, that didn't happen.
The disrespect!
I'd be furious too, like, fuck you.
Dude, same. Like, I've been dealing with this trauma for my entire life, and you're just gonna invalidate me. God.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Crap. Jesus.
I like it.
Well, I would like to personally thank OP for sharing this marvelous story, and I would like to thank Zeke Freak here for his marvelous vocal reenactment.
Yes. That's what I do.
Holy shit, man. Shit like this is like the best part of Reddit. Like, let's be real. There's a lot of bad parts of Reddit, but like this is the stuff that you go to Reddit for specifically. Like shit like this. The bedpost story.
Yep. It's an amalgamation of human experience, and you're gonna get the best and the worst.
The second he described the bedpost and what he and his siblings were doing with the punch balloons, I was like, I know exactly where this is going. It's all about how it goes from there.
Yeah. Do you remember the punch balloons? I remember them still being around when I was a kid.
Oh yeah, fucking love those things. Never got to play with them very much, but I did love them.
Yeah, I didn't really get them because they seemed like they would break pretty quickly, and they did. So wasn't a great investment. But yeah, I remember cousins and stuff had them around.
Yeah, that was the entire thing about why my parents never got them. One, they were dangerous, and we'd be hitting each other in the head with it. And two, they were just not a good investment because they'd just break.
Yeah, they're made to break. It's crazy that there used to be an entire genre of children's toys just based around causing physical harm to one another.
Remember sock 'em boppers? That shit was great.
Yeah.
And remember when they were called sock 'em boppers?
Yep.
Then they got turned into soccer boppers, and that's not as fun to say.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of a shame that that genre of toy went out of vogue, because I think it's obviously you can go too far with it, but I think like having those kinds of experiences is kind of good for kids,
Yeah,
to
like
be
it's a very specific element of childhood development
yeah.
that I feel is kind of lost these days with like over reliance on safety protocols in toy manufacturing and shit like that.
And just the general culture of not allowing kids to explore and get hurt, and just it's not the worst thing in the world to get hurt. It teaches you valuable. Sometimes I see like these insane. I mean, I don't go to TikTok, but I see them reposted everywhere. These are like insane TikToks where people do these incredibly dangerous shit for internet views, and I'm like, well, you know what? I bet those kids never had punch balloons
Yeah.
They never learned pain avoidance from a young age because they were babied. They had padded cribs. They were babied. They didn't get the toys that actually sometimes hurt to play with, and you could fuck up. And that kind of teaches you instinctual lessons about risk assessment and danger.
Yeah.
That's important, and I think those toys actually served a valuable purpose.
The closest you got these days is shit like the friggin' lightsaber toys, and even then, those aren't like inherently those kinds of toys. It's mostly just like, oh, just tap the sticks together, haha. But like when I was a kid, when we were playing with lightsabers, we tried to fucking hit each other in the face.
Yep.
Dude, that shit was fun. Playing with lightsabers was fun, man.
Yeah, it's like there's a certain. I think there's just a certain level of risk that I think a childhood should have.
Yeah, I actually had like the deluxe Anakin Skywalker lightsaber from around the time that Attack of the Clones was released. That shit was fun.
Yeah,
it was like my favorite toy.
I didn't elaborate, but I started to tell you last night when we were chatting on Discord. I was telling you about going hunting with my dad and my grandpa and my uncle, and they would just. I was like, this was like during the time when I was like 9 years old to maybe 13ish.
Yeah,
and they would just let me wander the fuck off for miles. Like I would just be in the middle of the goddamn isolate. What people might not understand about the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, where I grew up, is that when you get outside of like the 4 or 5 main cities, it is very remote. Like there is very little out there. It is just mountains and forest as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, like when people mention the middle of nowhere, that's the shit they're talking about.
This is like, yeah, my grandpa owned a not a trailer, but those like, it's almost like a mobile home sort of situation, except it was not at all mobile. You know what I mean? Like those like sardine can houses,
Yeah, yeah. I used to live in one back in Florida. Yeah.
Yeah, my grandpa had one of those in the middle of fucking nowhere in Dickinson County, which is like a big hunting zone.
Yeah.
They take us out. They take me and sometimes my god brother to go out hunting and stuff. Those are some of my most fond memories. Even though I remember a lot of times I was bored because this was before smartphones, before good portable gaming.
Yeah,
so.
Well, okay, I wouldn't say what was this, like early 2000s?
Yeah, this was like this would have been like
you had Game Boy Advance. That was good shit.
Yeah, I did, but like battery only lasted so long, whatever. But like,
that's a good
it's funny.
Point, yeah,
it's funny now that like at the time there were stretches where I was probably bored, but looking back, I actually kind of enjoyed that a lot because it made me. One thing I've noticed is that people today aren't as good at entertaining themselves. And this is turning into the old man podcast for some reason, which is going to be weird because some of our most active listeners are older than us. but you know what I mean? Like you're in like a waiting room or whatever, and like everyone's on their phone.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But like sometimes I feel kind of self-conscious about being on my phone in public because I'm like, I don't want to be like one of those people that's like dependent on it to entertain myself. that's kind of when those are the moments where I ponder weird thoughts, or I think about story direction. That's something I do a lot.
Yeah.
Think about future writing stuff. But like, anyway, back to the hunting story. Is that the things I remember are not the boredom, though. I remember the things I did to alleviate that boredom. I explored. I went out in the forest and I just found weird shit.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Like,
and,
when I was a kid, half the time I played with the toys in my room, and half the time I would go outside and just play with fucking sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would find new and interesting ways to make up games with sticks and a tree.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's just because, like, now I live in a more civilized area, and I have for quite a while now, and I don't really get that. You know, even the woods nearby are very controlled. You know, they've got, you know, they got benches with people's names on them. That's how controlled it is. You know,
like, one thing I remember very clearly from my childhood is after I got it, like, oh god, I think it was like 02, 03. My uncle gave us a Nintendo 64 and GoldenEye 007. Like, we had a few games, but GoldenEye was one of them. And because of GoldenEye, I got into James Bond. And, you know, I started watching the movies on Spike TV and shit like that. Because, like, Spike TV used to do, like, all-day marathons of Bond films and shit. So, like, I got into Bond when I was, like, you know, pretty young, about 9, 10-ish. And one of the things that I would do is I actually found, like, in the backyard, I found this one stick that was, like, perfectly shaped like a pistol.
Yeah.
Like it had, you know, like the tiny little stick coming off of it that you could put your hand on, and like it, like a really
yeah.
And,
I'm familiar with the stick shapes.
And I pretended to be James Bond for like 6 months.
Wow, get an airsoft gun, you loser.
My mom didn't want us having airsoft guns or Nerf guns or anything like that because she thought that we'd shoot each other in the eye, which, to be fair, we would have. We totally would have. Jeez. But, like, I didn't mind because it gave me an opportunity to utilize more of my imagination and just kind of, like, make up things to play with more. Like, I'm kind of glad that my mom... In some ways, I'm glad that my mom restricted me so much in terms of what I could have as a kid in terms of toys and whatever, because it made me get much more creative. And, you know, I kind of miss those days to a degree, because it's like, man, I'm a sad adult. I'm gonna be real. I am a sad fucking sack of shit of an adult. And I wish and I sometimes just look back at that and I'm like, man, I wish I could go back. Oh well.
Yeah, I just, as I was saying, not that, I mean, I was invested in what you were saying.
Yeah, no,
but,
I get it.
Yeah, but I wasn't finished with my thought. I just kind of miss the woods sometimes. Yeah. I wish, you know, I miss the isolation sometimes. I like people. I like cars. Fuck cars, but more trains.
It's like the opposite of me, because, like, I kind of like, you know, the city and shit like that. Like, I like the communal aspect of, you know, going out and doing things, which is part of why I like theaters. And I understand that's why you don't.
Yeah. I have a whole video about why I don't like theaters.
Yeah, and my entire response to that video is basically just like, okay, I understand where you're coming from, and I get it, but also no. This is just not me. Yeah, I actually bemoaned the fact that I was never able to go to theaters very much as a kid, and that's entirely because we didn't have a whole lot of money. So, like, when I started, like, when I was an adult and I actually, you know, started having money, I was like, well, I'm going to go to the theater. A lot.
People, yeah, that's always what happens is people, when they're an adult, they always desperately seek the things they were denied as children. That's kind of why I think I've said this to you before. It's why I don't like all the, like, gender separation that happens in childhood. Because I think it actively makes the opposite gender seem more alien and foreign, and you have less respect for them as a result.
I agree.
I think my I think my not being an incel asshole was in many ways a direct result of the fact that I used to go to when I was young. I went to a daycare with mostly girls. I was like 4 or 5, 6 years old, something like that. And I learned very quickly just by being there, the boundaries and the how to interact with them and whatnot. And I think that's an important experience to have. And when I see like school events are all gender separated, and I see when I was at summer camp, we were very separated at summer camp.
Yeah.
The girls' cabins were on the complete opposites. Okay, that part's fine. If they want to be on the opposite side of the whatever. But like there were like no activities together. There were like they're very segregated, and that always struck me as a bothersome thing. And I think I think that stuff is the reason why so many guys don't know how to fucking act around women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is because they didn't get those experiences that normalize the experience of being around them in the first place.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
Like yeah, I have a point to make here. When I was growing up, like my dad wasn't around very much. He dipped after a point, and I was left with my mom and my 2 siblings, both of whom identified as female at the time. Mm-hmm. So they both identify as non-binary these days. But I grew up around people who identified as female and had very feminine interests and that sort of thing. So I never had the issue of not understanding how women felt or not knowing how to act around them, because that's all I knew. That's everything I knew at home. Like, I am surrounded by women, and I had to learn how to talk to them, talk with them, understand what they were going through. And let me tell you, that helped me quite a bit as an adult, and when I was like a teenager or whatever. God, that just there used to be people in my high school who were just like weirded out and just like, why do I gotta go and like buy tampons for my sister or whatever? And I'm like, you don't normally do that? Because like I had to do that. I would typically have to like take my mom's card, go to the store, buy it, and come back, and that was just like a regular, normal, everyday thing for me.
Yeah.
And like there are these teenage kids who are like the cool kids in school complaining about it, and I'm like, that's not common for you? What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it's not 100%. Sometimes you get, like Joss Whedon had a childhood like that, and he still turned out to be fucked up.
Yeah.
So like it's not 100% guarantee of anything, but I just think when you have more exposure and these things are normalized to you, you generally don't turn out to be an asshole about it, So, what I'm saying is I think everyone should have a fucking anime circle of childhood friends of mixed genders. I think that's the way to a better future.
Yeah, because it certainly helped me out, and it clearly helped you out. So yeah. I think that is... I'd agree with that. Yeah. And I think another part of it is I don't think it's necessarily a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea at all to restrict what kind of toys or things kids are allowed to get into based entirely off of gender roles. And that's another thing that I thank my mom for, because when I was a kid, yeah, I loved Transformers and G.I. Joe and, all sorts of boy stuff, but at the same time, Star Wars, but at the same time, I also liked shit like, Barbies and horses and Sailor Moon. So my mom would buy me, like, on top of, all the boy stuff that I got, my mom would also buy me, girls' toys and shit like that, because it's like, it's not a negative impact on me, and I'm learning how to play with, my siblings better.
Your mom is a weird person, because she does like progressive stuff like that, but then she wouldn't want you watch Mega Man Battle Network because of Satanism.
Yeah, my mom was super, super, super inconsistent in the way that she raised me, which makes it very difficult to pinpoint whether or not she was a good parent or a bad parent. I think at this point I've just accepted my mom was a parent.
Yeah. I mean, most people are
Thankful for
just
some of the
people.
things that my mom did. Thankful for some of the things that my mom did, but at the same time,
Mhm.
I look at some shit and I'm like, what the fuck were you doing?
Every story I hear about your mother causes me to slightly readjust my opinion of your mother one way or the other, and it's a
Dude,
very
how do you think I feel?
yeah. No, I'm not. Yeah, more. I imagine
I'm in the
just
same
more.
boat, and she's
Yeah,
my mom.
yeah, I know. I'm not trying to take away from that. It's just,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
growing up was weird for me. Like, family was all over the place, man.
Yeah,
But I like to think I turned out okay.
yeah. But anyway, my point is that like all that segregation and between genders and stuff throughout adolescence, it's like it's in the spirit of making sure nothing fucked up happens, but I think it actually causes more fucked up things to happen down the line.
Yeah, because it's stunting people, like,
Mhm.
socially in terms of, you know, interacting with people of, like, of significantly different, you know, upbringing and of significantly different, like, gender than them.
Yeah, and you know I think
And it
there's
creates an inherent imbalance.
I just think a lot of the pathetic incels would be not that if they weren't denied so many chances to have normal fucking experiences with girls at a younger age. I really
agree.
think that.
I agree.
I'm sure it goes the other way too, but you know.
That said, that did
Yeah.
lead to me having more female friends in middle school and high school, though, so...
I didn't have any friends, so
Oof.
you know.
I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of friends, but, like, I had a, like, little small group of people that I hung out with, and it was pretty gender neutral overall.
I didn't really have a lot of friends until later in high school, and I wish, if I knew how well I was going to get along with them, I wish I had talked to them earlier.
Yeah.
That's my one regret about growing up, is that I should have just not fucking cared and just talked to people, you know. And
Yeah.
not that I, you know, I don't struggle with that as much anymore, but like, because like it doesn't fucking matter, and the worst case scenario is never as bad as you think it is. But you know, I overthought that stuff a lot, even so far into high school, and I wish I had not done that. If I could change anything, probably that.
Yeah, I did something similar, and it didn't fuck me up nearly as bad, and I think part of that is just because I was being put into special education programs and shit that allowed me to, you know, be with people who understood me better, and I understood them better. Public school didn't really happen until high school-ish.
Yeah. That's weird. I went to public school up until high school, where I went to a charter school instead for ADHD people and the like. I like not having homework. That was great.
It was great. I miss it.
Yep. I didn't have homework in high school, and a lot. 5-day weeks were actually rarer than 4 or 3-day weeks because there were so many meetings. I don't know what the fuck they were talking about, but there were so many teacher meetings that like
Yeah.
it was not uncommon to have at least 2 weeks out of any given month that were like 4 days or 3 days.
That just sounds weird to me. Because that never happened in any of my schools.
Yeah, my charter school was very laid back. I liked it. I was in a graduating class of 8 people.
Wow.
Yeah, there were more in the class, but not all of them passed.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I guess you could apply the same logic to race as well, because my high school was very very diverse.
Yeah, when I grew up in schools, it was pretty racially diverse too, which makes sense. I mostly went to school in Arizona. And in Arizona, there were, you know, considering its, you know, proximity to Mexico, there were a lot of Mexican kids there.
Yeah. Same.
So, like, I got, you know, exposed to a lot of that culture and a lot of those people. which made me understand them a lot more than I would have otherwise. Which I'm thankful for ultimately.
Yeah, I just think a lot of that's kind of that's in a lot of ways the conservative agenda. In a lot of ways, is they perpetuate this shit with these separations of gender and race, so that these things aren't normalized, and people grow up and have very weird ideas about how the world works or how it should work.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my dad fell into a lot of that bullshit, which was probably a good thing he left then.
I mean, it's all by design.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
It's a systemic shit. It's systemic shit.
Yeah, but then there's also like, it gets combated from the other side, where like, the so-called proponents of diversity suddenly want to create safe spaces for every individual group, and like you're just doing the same shit from the other side.
Yeah, I don't get that. Like, you're trying to add more diversity, but at the same time you're adding more diversity through segregation? What?
It's massively overcorrecting, and it's just going to lead to, I'm like, I cringe sometimes when like the right wingers online talk about like the flip flopping where it's like it's not cool to be white anymore, but like they kind of have a point. I don't like where their complaints come from, and I don't like what they think the intentions are, but they kind of have a bit of a point where like this reversal kind of leads to that in the end. And like I don't identify with their mindset, but I do think they have a point in that regard where like that's a thing that happens. I've said before that because I'm on Amino so much, and Amino skews to a very young user base, what I have noticed, and I'm not trying to call it anyone in particular, and I'm not trying to invalidate anyone in particular, because these things are real, but like there is such stigma in online circles, especially with young people, to be an other, to be different in some way. It's not cool to be straight and cis. Like it's actually like a thing that you will not fit in with these groups unless you're some kind of thing.
Yeah, I've noticed that there are definitely a lot of like spaces, both macro and micro spaces, that have that kind of problem, like that kind of mindset, and I don't agree with it, because again, it's just it's massively overcorrecting from the other side and just introducing the exact same problems that you're trying to fight against. And look, finding that middle ground, I get it. It's fucking hard because nothing has an easy answer.
I guess so, but I don't think it's hard. I think it's just fucking accept everyone. Like I don't think it's like it's that, like in my head I'm just thinking like I don't have a problem with this. I don't try to exclude people. I don't try to make people feel unwelcome no matter who they are. And sometimes that doesn't lead to the most balanced outcome, but guess what? What's free isn't fair, and what's fair isn't free.
Yeah, there's going to be people who just don't really jive with what you're trying to do, and I get that, but like trying to overcorrect and ultimately just falling into the exact same pit trap that the other side has fallen into themselves isn't going to solve any problems. It's just going to create new ones. Equality and
parity,
that's a good word for it, thank you. Like equality and parity in both in gender, sexuality, and race is going to have its issues, and that's entirely down to the fact of different people having different individual experiences that shape them and how they react to certain things. That's going to happen whether you want it to or not, and that's just life.
I say that phrase a lot. What's free isn't fair, and what's fair isn't free.
Yeah.
And I feel like I need to explain that a little bit, because when you give people the freedom to make their own choices and join whatever groups they want and choose the careers they want, when you give people that freedom, you're not going to get quote unquote fairness. Things aren't going to be quote unquote equal because of all these various factors that just make us human are going to get us in different directions. You can have a very open-minded, progressive, tech or game company, that doesn't exclude anyone and is very welcoming and inviting, and you're still probably going to end up with the majority white guys just because that's kind of who is the most interested in the subject matter. And that's not a problem. That's just kind of how it shook out. You don't have to exclude. When you see overrepresentation of something, that doesn't mean that people were being purposefully excluded. Sometimes that's just nature. That's just how something shook out.
Yeah.
And I think you might get less of that if you stop trying to, overcorrect for either keep the status quo or overcorrect for things. If you embrace, diversity and freedom, I think eventually you'll reach a somewhat better point. But even then, it's like, just because there's a perceived imbalance doesn't mean anyone was actually wronged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's this... God, what's the word I'm looking for? There's this false assumption in a lot of cases that, like, there was a deliberate exclusion. When you see, like... when game development wraps on something and there's, like, a big...
the Gone Gold photo.
Yeah, and it has, like, all the main development team members. And, a lot of them are, older white men in their 30s. There's this, like, false assumption that it deliberately... that, like, this particular development space was a result of, like, deliberate exclusion. But in a lot of cases, that's just not true.
Well, the other thing is, like, are you saying they should leave?
Yeah.
Are you saying these people shouldn't have jobs? That they shouldn't do what they want, what they love, just because your standard of parity hasn't been achieved? Like, that's kind of fucked up. Maybe don't do that.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, and it's like, you can't. A studio can't hire everyone. Yeah. I'm sure they'd love to, but, like, there's limits. You can't. It's dickish to fire the people you already have just to get more image of diversity in your perceived diversity in your workplace. That's dickish.
I'm not saying that there aren't. I'm not saying that there aren't instances where
there totally are,
where racial and gender inequality plays a part. There absolutely are. Hell, we're seeing a lot of that shit getting fought against and dismantled these days with like fucking half a dozen different game studios going through friggin' legal shit. Because of, like, absolutely, not just perceived, but genuine imbalance in the workplace in terms of power and dynamics.
Yeah, it absolutely happens.
But, like, in a lot of these cases that people, like, you see the developments, pictures, and it's just, like, a bunch of straight white men. Like, in a lot of those cases, I feel like people are just looking at it very surface level and aren't really thinking about how things must have gotten to this point necessarily. It's like, in a lot of cases, it just happens because that's just the people who... Sometimes it's just down to where the studio is located and the kind of people who are actually... And the kind of people who are actually interested in it from that particular community.
This might shock you, but not every game studio is in San Francisco, California.
Yeah.
When it's a photo of like a 15-person team from like the middle of Poland, it's gonna be mostly white guys.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. And like it also seems weird to me that like this regionality gets exempted in certain cases but not others. Like when you talk about like an Eastern European studio, people will say that, but when you talk about like a Japanese studio, nobody even questions the fact that it's like 99% Japanese, if not 100.
Yeah, like you're gonna have some Korean people, you're gonna have some Chinese people, and like in rare cases you're gonna have a couple of Americans in there who are like expats and shit. But like in 99% of cases, it's gonna be Japanese people working in Japanese studios.
And it's like, it's like they don't consider that a problem because, it sounds backwards because it is, but in their mind they see that and they're like, well, diversity was achieved because there's no white people there.
Yeah.
And it's like the least diverse photo you could possibly take is suddenly diverse just because it's not white people.
I'm reminded of when High Guardian Spice was announced and the trailer was like, oh, we have a very diverse writer's room, and then it just shows like mostly white women. It's like, oh, how diverse.
Much diversity, such wow.
Which I don't find it necessarily like. I
don't have a problem with that, but don't fucking brag about shit you have not achieved.
Agreed. That's the main thing. Like, don't brag about what you have not achieved. And in a lot of these cases, like when these development studios make these pictures and it just showcases like a homogeneity of, the demographic of people at the studio, they're not trying to showcase how diverse they are. It's just, we're the team, this is what we've made, and we're proud of it. And we're...
What a shitty thing to do, when someone's trying to celebrate their accomplishments as a group, that they made a piece of art, and you're just like, wow, there's a lot of white guys in this photo.
Yeah, that's bad faith. It's bad faith.
Fuck you. Why you gotta shit on people for stupid shit?
A lot of that just comes from really, really bad faith criticism, and that shouldn't be the goal. That should not be the goal, to approach everything from a bad faith standpoint. Try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and if it doesn't work, well, fuck. But just try again.
I'm also just fucking... I'm sad that we're losing the battle on the voice acting front.
Yeah.
We really are. It's like that one time, I saw Phil Lamar getting at it when he made that tweet like 6 years ago where he got it. He understood that,
like voices are not, racial or whatever the hell. Like he made a good point there. But now he's kind of on the other side of it, where
he's fallen into the cult. He's fallen into the groupthink.
It's like, you voiced a Japanese dude.
You're black. It was great. It was great, and nobody cared because you were awesome at it. How do you not get this? You should be like the poster child for the Voices Are Voices movement, but instead you're on this fucking stupid train to Stupid Town.
Not to mention, if we start doing shit like this, then the entire anime industry is in deep shit, because most people who voice acted anime aren't Japanese.
Crazy how we're not acknowledging that because they want to keep their jobs.
I think that also comes from another thing where, like,
the why are they whites bullshit.
Yeah. When it's just like, oh yeah, the white character named Izuku Midoriya. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's just so fucking stupid, and I don't like it.
It's all just weird.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't get it.
Over, and I'm gonna keep fucking saying it in sticks. But if I was a casting director, I don't even want to know what the person looks like because it's completely fucking irrelevant. You want like no fucking like bias in the hiring process, which is an impossible fallacy, but whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to get as close to that as possible, then just fucking send people clips without any context. Don't tell them who you are. Don't show them who you are. And I think you'll be surprised what will end up happening, which is that you get the best talent, and I think people will get more opportunities that way.
Yeah, I think that's actually a good idea. Like, to start doing more blind casting.
Yeah,
or at the very least experiment with it.
Yes, I think. I mean, obviously, like, at least in voice acting is what I'm saying. Because you can do that. On film casting, you can't do that. How the character looks is important because the actor is the character. But in voice acting, they're not. So it's all about the voice. And if I was a casting director, that is exactly what I would do, and I think that's exactly what they should do.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
It's ability over appearance.
Well, that's not where I was expecting that conversation to lead.
We've hit on a lot of things today, Kevin.
We have.
Mm-hmm.
But we're better for it.
Yes, I think it makes a better and, dare I say, more diverse show.
I would argue so.
Topic-wise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even
but
though we're two white boys. Actually,
it's not our. What?
Actually, no.
Go on.
You're part Native American, aren't you?
Yeah, a bit.
Diversity.
But I'm white passing, Kevin, so it doesn't count in their eyes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, and I'm just like, if I'm so white passing, why can't I grow a fucking beard to save my life?
And then there's me.
You can't grow a beard?
Oh no, I can.
Can you give me some of your beard growing ability?
Dude, I wish I could. I hate this fucking thing. I don't like it.
I've never shaved once in my life.
Jeez, you lucky son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
I let my beard grow for like a week and it starts to fucking itch. Like, I can't do it.
My mom gets on my case because she wants me to clean it up a little because my facial hair grows in kind of patchily. And I'm just like, why don't you give me some fucking beard oil and I can slather it on the areas it's not growing and see how that works. I'd rather do that. You know how hard it was to grow this?
Yeah. Like,
let's start over.
There was a point, like, oh Jesus, like when I was 19, 20, 21, where I was like trying to grow my beard out to see how it would go, and like it just kept growing and growing, and I was like, I don't like this. It is not comfortable. It is not pleasant. I don't like it, and I don't think I look nearly as good with the beard as I do without it. So I just like shave every 3 days.
Wow. It grows that fast for you, huh?
It does, actually. Like,
yeah.
I shaved 2 days ago, and I already have, like, I'm beyond, and I already have, like, some pretty long, like, stubble going on, like, actual, like, beard hair now.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to shave again.
Yeah. It is amazing. You wouldn't think I'm part Native American by looking at me, but it is amazing how even that amount of genes keeps me, like, I'm mostly Irish. I should have a full beard. I should be tap dancing the shillelagh or whatever with a full beard, but I can't because I only have this fucking goatee I've managed to scrap together.
Yeah, most of my ancestry is like Gaelic as well, so.
Mm-hmm.
There is a very
ironic.
No, go ahead. I
was just gonna say I hate mashed potatoes. You can say what you want.
No, I like mashed potatoes, so here's that.
I hate mashed potatoes.
You know, I used to be like the whitest white boy ever because I used to fucking hate spicy food.
I like spicy food, but I can't have it really anymore because it upsets my bladder.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, you've mentioned that before, and that is so depressing.
Yeah, now it's like, fuck it, unseasons your taco.
Oh, man.
Yeah, now I just have like the default taco seasoning and I don't add all my usual stuff anymore. And man, does that taste different.
Yeah, that sounds kind of sad. Though, like, to be fair, the default taco seasoning is still pretty good.
Yeah, it tastes alright. But, you know, it doesn't have the same kick to it.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. Which is disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. God damn it. We gotta end the show on a happy note. We stop drifting into sadness.
Into psychological shit.
I mean, I guess that's just our identity at this point.
It happens. Like,
damn it! I wish I had another funny Reddit story to pull up, but I'm out.
It's a roller coaster of emotion here on the Baka Gaijin show.
That's what the people come for. They come for the laughs. They come for the highs. They come for the introspection, and they come for the existential dread that inevitably follows.
It's an experience unlike any other.
And thank you for joining us on that experience on this episode of the Baka Gaijin Show. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you can email us at bakagaijinshow@gmail.com. You can follow us at ZeekFreak or at CTormanderK on Twitter.com. Send us your questions, comments, concerns, topic suggestions, erotic fan art, whatever you want. We're not picky. And we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Baka Gaijin Show. I've been ZeekFreak. This is Kevin. Does Kevin have anything else to say?
No, I think I'm good. Actually,
what?
Please make erotic fan art, because that would be hilarious. I want to see that shit. Unironically.
Yeah. Okay, you have to render his gross, fucking, disgusting teeth in disturbingly realistic detail.
No, you don't. You don't have to do that.
Nope,
it's not necessary.
It's in the rules.
It's not in the rules. It's not written down.
In the rules. It's in the rules. You gotta draw his fucked up teeth until he goes to the goddamn dentist.
Don't do me dirty like that, man.
They're not. They're doing you real. That's what you look like. It's true to source material.
It's not the me that I have in my head, please.
Thank you for listening to the Baka Gaijin Show. We'll see you next time. Zeke Freak out. Ciao, ciao for now.